Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Hougang Stadium for the start of the second stage of the 2020 AIA Singapore Premier League. It's a rematch from round one. Hougang United up against the Young Lions. It was the Cheetahs that came out on top by 4-1 when these teams met on the first day of March, which of course seems such a long time ago now. But Stipe Plazivat, who picked up a hat-trick on that opening round, is now, of course, playing for the Lion City Sailors, who themselves are in action tomorrow night. The other game in tonight's programme sees the league leaders Tampines Rovers up against fourth place Balestier Causa. But for the Young Lions, an opportunity to move back off the bottom of the table should they pick up a point or more here. For Hougang, after the dizzying heights of last season, they'll be hoping they can get their campaign back on track. They've already produced one very sensational scoreline since the resumption after the enforced COVID break. That remarkable 2-1 win at our Tampines hub against the team that are leading the league. But last time out they went down by 4 second-half goals to nil against Albirex Niigata. You can just see in the bottom of the screen there the Young Lions substitutes bench making their way out onto the arena floor as we are set for Tampines against Balestier tonight. Also live on Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, and of course across One Play Sports and other networks around the world taking these pictures. Team news on the way, but first let's hear from the two coaches. We'll hear from Coach Nasri shortly, but first here's Hougang's boss Clementillo.
The reverse fixture in round one was a 4-1 victory to your side with a Stipe Plazivat hat-trick. Without him this time around, what are some of the adjustments that you've made?
I mean, basically we have Shafiq, we have Shawal. I mean, these are basically the two players that we have. Of course, we too have Nafal, whom we signed during the window. I mean, Stipe has done well for us, but at the end of the day, what's more important is the local strikers be given opportunity to show what they can do.
This is the first time since the restart of the league that you're playing at home in Hougang Stadium. Does that give you any sort of added comfort or confidence heading into the game?
I mean, naturally, you know, it's our home ground, but very unfortunately, our training sessions here are very limited due to the adverse condition. The adverse weather condition, and time and again, we were not able to train on the field. Basically, to safeguard the field, and looking at the condition, is perfect. And this is something which we wanted to do to ensure that during game day, the field is in tip-top condition.
Coach, tonight Young Lions faces Hougang United, and it's a chance for your side to climb off the bottom of the table with any point gained. So what's it going to take tonight for at least a point here at the Hougang Stadium?
Honestly, I think I'm quite glad that players that right now I've got available players. The last 4 matches that we played after the resume of the SPL, right? Basically, I don't really have a full squad. So today I can say that I have a good full squad, even the reserve I have. But of course, my sub basically is not as fit as what we expect. More or less, I think looking at the second round now, I'm basically very positive that tonight won't be an easy game against Hougang. They are a very experienced team. They have a very good defender with good height. But again, we come here, as much as we have game plan, as much as I want that if we can, we're going for a win for tonight's match. So that's how I looking at it.
Coach Nasri looking for the 3 points tonight. It would be some victory for them if they could claim the scalp of Hougang. Up until very recently, they had enjoyed a very good time of it against the Cheetahs, but that came crashing down to earth with that 4-1 reverse at Jurong West at the start of the season. Our match officials, led by Referee Zulfikar Mustafa, assisted by Manoj Kalwani, Alson Fu, with the fourth official this evening being Y Sathay Kumar. So making their way out are the Cheetahs, with that huge figure of Zach Anderson at centre-back, with the tightest shorts in Singaporean football. They'll be looking for a repeat of the performance they put in at our Tampines hub a couple of weeks ago, and not a repeat of the performance in the second half where they capitulated against Albirex, albeit with the extenuating circumstances in the tragic passing last Friday of their former assistant coach Salim Moeen of a heart attack, unfortunately claiming his life. There was a minute's silence around the Singapore Premier League grounds during the last round, and we repeat once more on behalf of the AIA Singapore Premier League and the broadcast team here, our condolences to the family and friends of Salim Moeen. Here come the young Lions, the visitors, led by Jacob Marler, who has put in some standout performances of late. He was really impressive in the defeat at the Lion City Sailors. Did score an own goal in that game, but really can't be faulted. And they did put up a spirited display when they only went down by a 1-0 to Tampines Rovers on another day. They might have stolen a point there. It was not a great game of football, but Coach Nasri is proving himself to be tactically astute. He referred to that substitutes bench that he can call upon today. The big team news that we'll confirm for you in just a moment. Ilhan Fandi back from his latest round of national service. He is on the bench for the Young Lions this evening. Brother Irfan, of course, recovering from a shoulder injury in Bangkok, playing for BG Patum in Toyota Thai League T1. And fellow elder brother Iksan currently playing his football in Norway. We'll keep you up to date with the score at the other match being played today at Bisham between Balestier, who are going to have to do some to recover from the 7-1 thrashing they received at the hands of the Lion City Sailors last time out. They're up against the Stags. Here it's Lions and Cheetahs in action. Looks like Hougang in the blue this evening have won the toss, skippered by Faiz Salah. So pre-match photos being taken. Might have a chance to see two brothers in action for the Young Lions at the same time tonight, because Ryan Stewart starts and Harris Stewart is on the bench. Those team lineups will confirm for you in just a couple of moments' time as we bring you live AIA Singapore Premier League action. There's Clement Teo, the man that took over, having been assistant to Filippo Orr, and he was the man that led the charge last year with their incredible finish of their campaign, seeing them qualify for the AFC Cup. So let's check in with the team lineups then. We'll start with the Cheetahs. They make 5 changes to the team that went down in their second half against Albirex, and many of those players did actually start at the beginning of that second stanza. Daniel On comes in for his first start of the season in goal, with Ridwan dropping down to the bench. Afiq Noor, Shafiq, Faiz and Nikesh all record to the starting lineup, with Englishman Charlie Matchell on the bench. As for the Young Lions, another 5 changes for them for the team that went down against Tampines. Danish Irfan, Amma Hakim comes in for his first start. Ryan Stewart, Karin Nadim and Jaime Shahin all into the starting lineup, and then you can see number 17 Ilhan Fandi on the bench. So we're almost set for action. The second half of the AIA Singapore Premier League 2020 is about to get underway. It's the Young Lions led by that man Coach Nasri in the red, playing from left to right as you watch live on the AIA Singapore Premier League social media channels, and in the blue with the white shorts it's Hougang playing from right to left. Our referee Zulfikar, just waiting for the green light to start, with kickoff not officially expected till 7:45. We're just seconds away from that time locally here in Singapore now. I hope you're safe from wherever you're watching around the world. It's game on here as the second half of the AIA Singapore Premier League season is underway. And straight away the Young Lions try and go on the offensive early. Jacob Marler in a very advanced position, did well to keep that back in, but it's Hougang that react quickest. Nikesh with his first touch. Goes back to Anders Aplin, and there's a real coming together that's going to result in a free kick for Hougang. He looks up for this Jacob Marler. He's a very aggressive player, and in that instance it was Irfan that's going to be spoken to by the referee. And Anders Apton will be able to get the ball rolling. You heard Clement Thiam in his pre-match interview talk about the departure of Stipe Plazibat, who of course got those 3 goals in the first game between these two sides this season before departing to the Lion City Sailors. And he's been at pains to say this is a real opportunity for homegrown strikers to state their claim. And Charles Amoir will be the speedy man up top, trying to get the break on. Just playing it out from the back is Afik Noor. Now they try and go down the far side, back to Afik Noor. Scrappy old start this, but Hougang driving forward here. Referee not interested after that theatrical dive. He plays on as the young Lions try and play this out from the back. Can be a dangerous game. Composes himself well, Irfan. Gets it back to Syed Akmel. And here's Jaime Shahin releasing the young Lions down the left. It's been a competitive enough opening couple of minutes here. Both teams looking like they're up for the physical challenge that's going to come tonight, as that's behind for a goal kick. Underway at our Tampines hub. I should say Bishan, of course, because it's a home game for Balestier this evening up against Tampines Rovers. It's goalless there through the first 60 seconds here. There's a chance for Hougang to break through the middle now. Nikesh, and that time the free kick will come. He was caught late, and they'll get a free kick in an interesting position to try and drift it into the area. As Stewart was penalised, they've taken it quickly. They could have caught the young Lions napping here, just on the edge of the area. Can they get a telling cross into the middle? No, they cannot. And Ridwan, in between the sticks for the young Lions, makes the easy save, and they'll try and break quickly. Ryan Stewart sends it down the left-hand side, where going to ground theatrically was Amaral. Referee again not buying that as a free kick, and Hougang can try and drive through the middle. Oh my word, that was a very committed challenge that ended up leaving Farhan Zulkifli on the deck. He can be a real tough guy to get the ball off without fouling, with that low centre of gravity on those mazy runs through the middle. And on this occasion he's won the free kick, which they take back to Anders Aplin. There's the giant figure of Zach Anderson. And now they try and drift it over the top through the middle, and they've got a runner there. Can Faiz keep this one in? He can't, but he'll win a corner, first one of the game. So both teams just trying to settle down through the first 4 minutes or so of this one. And Hougang will try their luck from a set piece in the wonderful pre-match build-up to this game on the official AIA Singapore Premier League website. One of the incredible stats was the fact that Hougang haven't won a game here since 2017. Slightly misleading because their home games last campaign were played at Jalan Besar, currently under refurbishment, but it's something they'll look to put right tonight. They had a disaster just before the COVID suspension, going down 2-1 here against Geylang after conceding 2 very soft goals. Indeed, Chris Van Heusen coming up with the brace for the Eagles after Khairudin's goalkeeping mishaps. The corner comes to nothing. The referee just wanting to go back into the area here because there's a young Lions player down. Ridwan, the goalkeeper, looking on with a little bit of concern. But Ryan Stewart's okay to continue. Just starting to assert some possession dominance here, the Cheetahs. Talked about the AFC Cup campaign, that of course, so that competition eventually suspended because of COVID. A 3-2 loss against Ho Chi Minh in their first group game of that competition. And then a 1-0 loss away at Yangon of Myanmar. And they've got some defending to do against the young Lions here. It's played inside by Jaime. Here's Ryan Stewart, and to the edge of the area. That was a dangerous tackle from Anders Aplin. He gets away with it. Noor Adam in possession, gets it out wide. Now Stewart again into the area, and he committed the foul against Nikesh in the attempt of winning the ball back. But that was a promising movement forward from the young Lions. They went to the bottom of the table on goal difference. Behind the team, they actually did register their one win this season against Tanjung Pagar. And with Tanjung Pagar not in action tonight, they can get off the bottom if they pick up only a point. And it'll be a big boost to them. The man that got that goal here against Hougang when they teams met at Jurong West on the first day of the season, Ilhan Fandi, is in the starting position on the bench today to come in and play some part. Here's Jacob Mahler. Really been impressed with Mahler so far. And he already has, at his relatively young age, got the look of a player that could follow maybe in the footsteps of Irfan Fandi, and eventually his players trade outside of Singapore. Syed Akmal. That was well met through the middle by Faiz, and they'll come up with another free kick in a game that's starting to get a little bit scrappy. Very stop-start at the moment. Just left the ball behind momentarily there, Lionel Tan. I can tell you, Tampines Rovers have taken the lead at Bishan. Balestier Calcinil, Tampines Rovers 1. As the Stags look to extend their lead at the top of the Singapore Premier League tonight. Lion City Sailors in action tomorrow. Balestier, of course, is going to have to try and bounce back from that 7-1 result against the Sailors, where they were 5-0 down at half-time. Here's a promising movement for Ryan Stewart, driving through the middle when he pulls the trigger from a long way out. First shot on goal of this one. It's off target, but young Lions showing some ambition there, driving through the middle. There's always a suspicion that they'll just try and absorb pressure and catch teams out on the quick counter. But Ryan Stewart showed plenty of ambition there. Here's Anders Applin in space. They're dropping very deep when Hougang are in possession. Anders Applin will get it back to Anderson. And Lionel Tan. Oh, that's a miscue there, and very nearly allowing Karin Nadim to put Ong under some pressure. They've got away with it though, and now they can, I was going to say now they can try and go down the right hand side, but they're not going to get anywhere like that. In terms of striking options, confirmation on the bottom of your screen that Tampines do lead. Clementio mentioned in his pre-match interview about the new signing, Nafal Asman, under 23 player who starts on the bench tonight. I'm sure we'll see him at some point. We'll endeavour to get confirmation of the Stags' goal scorer early on in that game, and it was Ryan Sanizal, I'm being told, that scored the opener. Jordan Remember, just 2 goals away from 100 AIA Singapore Premier League goals. He'll be looking to get back on the score sheet tonight, having gone blank for a couple of weeks. It's played forward by Hami Shahin. Nice idea to try and get the young Lions moving down the left. They're certainly being competitive here. So as it stands at league table, remember, we may be only 8 games in for the 4 teams that are in action tonight, but the second stage is officially underway, and the games will come thick and fast from now until the season closes in the first week of December. And as things stand, it'll be 5 points clear for Tampines Rovers ahead of Albirex Niigata. Who of course are in action tomorrow, and our Tampines hub themselves away at Galing International will also be bringing you live tomorrow. The Sailors at home to Tanjung Pagar United, and that again a rematch of the opening day of the campaign when Tanjung Pagar United actually led in that game, both goals coming in the first half. Andy Pangeli of the Sailors now departed back to Australia with Peninsular Power. He got the equaliser after Jan Motter had given the Jaguars the lead. Shout out to our friends at the Jaguar Force. Wonderful official supporters club of Tanjong Pagar. Of course, speaking of official supporters clubs, I can see over on that far side, just peeking through the fence, some of the Hougang Halls. Shout out to the Halls over there as well. Give us a wave if you're listening to the commentary as Shafiq Ghani becomes first player to go in the book, and I don't think he'll be the last because the challengers are flying in here, and they're flying in thick and fast. Did actually walk on the pitch earlier, as Clement Teo intimated. It's in decent condition. Certainly, I think it's a fairer playing surface than Bishan, which is taking a pounding. 2 games in 2 days, heading Bishan's way as well, with the Stags there tonight and the Sailors and the Jaguars there tomorrow. Headed up in the air, looking for Kyrie Nadim. They've only managed 3 goals all season, the Young Lions, and those 3 goals coming in 2 games. The 1 goal Ilham Fandi scored against Hougang on match day 1 back at the start of March, and then those 2 goals in late October, scored by Jacob Marla and Charul Nizam Mazlan, who's unfortunately not fit enough to be in the squad tonight. And they got the better of Tanjung Pagar. Oh, he's had a heel slip there. Daniel Long didn't look comfortable under it, did he? And the Young Lions close to pouncing, and the man that nearly forced the error gets the ball to his left. It's Jaime Shaheen, and Jacob Marla with the effort. Noticeable Jacob Marla getting much further forward today than he has been doing in recent games, and they survived to an early scare there, Hougang. Daniel Long with his first start of the season, looking far from comfortable, and the ball came to him at feet. Over the top, and there's a chase on for Faiz, but he was never going to get there. You have to say early on, it'll be Coach Nasri Nasir of the Young Lions here that's going to be the happier of the 2 bosses, you'd imagine. It was always going to be difficult for Hougang to emulate their fine performance last season to qualify for the AFC Cup. They've obviously lost Stipe Plazabad as well, which is a huge miss. I mean, we talk about the Young Lions only getting 3 goals so far this season. You take away Stipe Plazabad's goals, Jordan Vestering, Shawal Anwar, Suhaimi and Zulkifli, the only players that have scored for them this season that are still with the club. Suhaimi and Zulkifli came up with those 2 goals against Tampines Rovers. As they showed there, they are capable of beating the best in the division. But with the season now only with 3 weeks to run, and after tonight, just 6 games for the teams in action, Hougang need to get moving if they want to advance in their current position of 6th. 3rd and 4th place teams, or 2nd and 3rd, but if you assume that Albirex will finish in the top 4, 2nd and 3rd place teams will qualify for the AFC Cup group stage by right. They don't even have to play a qualifier this season, with the champions, of course, playing in the AFC Champions League. That's a good ball over the top, and this time it was almost the Young Lions who showed some uncertainty, but standing up well to it was Danish Irfan, and Ridwan managed to get hold of the ball, but he was lurking dangerously there, Shawal Anwar, to pounce at any mistakes. And already it's got the look of a game maybe where a mistake might lead to the first goal, as Coach Nasri urges his team forward from the touchline. It's a lovely turn from Noor Adam. Noor Adam trying to shove away from the man that was chasing him down. That man was Faiz, and he got a shot away in the end, but no problem for Daniel Long. If you listen carefully, you can hear the Hougang Halls over on that far side making their presence felt. Lionel Tan, that was a casual ball from Lionel Tan, and he's been caught out here. You can see just the 2 shots of the game so far, both going to the Young Lions. And they are enjoying the better of this. .55% possession to Hougang, but it's the Young Lions that look more threatening coming forward. And Zaplin moving out from the back, and now they'll try and break at pace quickly with Farhan Zulkifli. And there's another card coming out here. They have to start being careful, the young Lions. Not the start that Syed Akmal wanted. Picking up a yellow card inside the first 16 minutes. That's going to be him now, having to be very careful because he said he stalled out early here. Referee Zulfikar, he'll be showing the cards when he deems necessary, and the voice has been blown plenty through the first 17 minutes of this one. Free kick to Hougang. Afik Noor's opportunity as the young Lions keep a high line. Can they get in behind them here? Afik Noor holds this one up, looking for a blue head, and Zach Addison's there with a back header! Zach Addison up from the back from the set piece, and he's given Hougang the breakthrough. 17 minutes in, Zach Addison's first Hougang goal this season. Afik Noor just drifted that one high. They got the flick on, and this was quite creative from Zach Anderson. It was Afik Noor that got it across. They managed to head it back across the face of goal on the edge of the 6-yard box. Zach Anderson, that was a deft finish there. He knew exactly where he was. Puzzled looks amongst the young Lions. And who did he go up against here to get that touch? Whoever he's going to go up against in the young Lions, it's going to be a physical mismatch because he has got such a height advantage. But look how intelligent this was. He knew exactly where the goal was. I don't know whether you have to question the positioning of young Ridwan there. I think the goalkeeper will maybe think in hindsight he could have been a bit more commanding, or at least not left himself exposed to that looping header. But it's Zach Anderson that's made the breakthrough, and now the young Lions need to really try and come up with a response, and they may do just that with Noor Adam. It's over the top, and that's headed backwards, this time by Lionel Tan towards his own goalkeeper, and Daniel Ong can gather. Well, Zach Anderson, a player who has reached some reasonable heights in his career to this point. Started out at Gold Coast United, played for the Central Coast Mariners, Sydney FC, had a spell in the UAE for the Emirates club, and of course in Malaysia with Kedah and PKNS, and then Perak. He joined Hougang at the start of this season. You can see what it means to him. He's got the tightest shorts in Singapore football, and now he's got his first goal in Singapore football as well. Goal didn't exactly come against the run of play, but the young Lions had certainly been competitive to that point. They leave it, the young Lions, for Irfan. Irfan Najib, just with too many blue shirts around him, and now Faiz gets it back to Anders Aplin, who slips as he delivered that ball, and subsequently it's gone straight to Jacob Marler, who is looking more adventurous than normal here. He's almost playing in a sweeper role in advance of the back line here. He's certainly trying to get into forward positions. He has got goals in him, Jacob Marler, and it looks to me to be a slight tactical change from what we've seen from the young Lions of late, where Jacob Marler's been employed as a traditional centre-back. That was certainly the case in that game against the Lions City Sailors, and indeed against Tampines. Speaking of Tampines, they made an even earlier breakthrough in their game, and they've doubled their lead. Tampines Rovers now lead Balestier Khalsa by 2-0. Marko Krajovic seems to have problems at the Tigers. 7-1 losers at the weekend at Bishan in what was a designated home game for them, and now in another designated home game for them. They now trail Tampines Rovers by 2-0. He's going to drift behind for a goal kick. That had been the start that Clementino wanted, because the longer you go without scoring, particularly in games you're expected to win, the pressure does tend to build. And looking back at that Balestier game, obviously the Sailors put 7 past Balestier Khalsa in a 7-1 win. I think it's far beyond the realms of possibility that this league is going to be decided by a wide margin. It could even go down to goal difference, and in which case, if they've got Balestier on the ropes through the first 20 minutes, Tampines, I wonder whether they'll really put down the hammer and try and open up and score a hatful, because they had a big goal difference advantage that got ebbed away by Albirex beating Hougang 4-0, and of course the Sailors winning 7-1. That's a good ball over the top. Needed a touch, didn't get it. They're through on goal. Could this be 2-0 Hougang? Just got it stuck under his feet. And Irfan Najib can get it away for the young Lions, but that was a real opportunity for Hougang. They got in behind them again. Just unable to manufacture a shot away at the end of it. Here's Irfan. Yeah, looking at the goal difference in the division to this point, as twisting and turning is Jaime Shahin, gets it back to Irfan. Best goal difference held by Albirex, +11. Going into tonight, Tampines were +9. Currently there now, back at +11, and the Sailors at +10. Those are the only three teams that have got a positive goal difference, as that ball nearly drops down to a dangerous position. And they will force a set piece of their own now. They've been caught out at one end by a set piece. Can the young Lions give Hougang a taste of their own medicine here? Trotting over to take it, Noor Adam. Jacob Marler will be a real threat here. They've committed all bar 3 red shirts into the area to attack this. Zach Anderson got the better of the young Lions defence previously. Can Jacob Marler get the better of the Australian giant this time? And it was a decent delivery, and Jacob Marler's run there was a good one. He very nearly got on the end of it. They'll come up with a throw, which Ryan Stewart will take. See, the scoreboard behind you shows that we're almost at the halfway mark in the first half. At 25 minutes, there will be a hydration break. In addition to both teams being allowed to use 5 subs, there's the update from Bishan Balestier 0, Tampines Rovers 2 now. Boris Kopitovic doubling the lead for the Stags after Ryan Sanazao had given them the opening in the 6th minute, and he's got that goal from the penalty spot. Big bad Boris. Tampines looking good to open up their lead back out to 5 points at the top of the table tonight. Hougang, that's a dangerous ball that he's going to have to come and deal with here. Ridwan does well. Ryan Stewart. Danish Irfan. Seeing plenty of the ball here, the young Lions, more than they had certainly in their last 2 games against Tampines and the Lion City Sailors, when they played arguably 2 of the competition's strongest teams back-to-back. Much more competitive here, but they've managed to concede in this game before, in terms of the clock on the match time, than they did in those 2 previous matches. They held the Sailors and Tampines to frustrating spells at the start of the game. Noor Adam with the ball over the top, and it's going to be sliced into the arms. Half-hearted appeals for a back pass, but Dangelong's got it safely. Fan. And that's Noor Adam. It may be in a bit of bother. Is the card coming out again here? Yes, it is. It's going to be another yellow card. They've got to be careful here, the young Lions. Noor Adam following Saeed Akmal into the book. And he's already shown 3 cards through the early stages of this one. Referee Zulfikar. And now they will indeed take the hydration break with 24.5 minutes gone. So here, Zach Anderson's first ever Hougang goal is leading the Cheetahs to victory at the moment against the young Lions, who've been competitive in the game to this point, while in the other game tonight at Bishan, Balestier Council 0, Tampines Rovers 2, Sanazao and Boris Kopitovic from the penalty spot, giving the Stags the commanding lead there. Well, the Hall's over on the far side. I'll be liking what they're seeing, but all not lost at this stage for the young Lions. They've battled hard, and they've shown more adventure in this game than we've seen, I think, in previous matches when they really were up against top quality opposition. I think Coach Nasri went into this one believing they could get something out of the Hougang match, and if they can just start trying to create a few more chances. They've always got the prospect of Ilhan Fandi being introduced into the fray in the second half as well. So if they can just stay competitive and not let this game get away from them, second half will be interesting. Clement Teo in that pre-match interview referring to some of the boys that have come back from national service, suggesting maybe they weren't as fit as he thought they might be, but obviously like they have limitations in all kinds of sporting events. There's limitations as well into what the young men can do on national service at the moment. Confirmation of Noor Adams' yellow card. 3 players in the book so far. Shafiq Ghani for Hougang, Syed Akmal and Noor Adam for the Young Lions. We're back underway then here live at the Hougang Stadium. The goal scorer Zach Anderson gets it to Lionel Tan. Looks to be a back 3 that Hougang are going with tonight. Twisting and turning, Shafiq Ghani. The Young Lions managed to mop it up, and now they'll try and play it out from the back themselves. With Syed Akmal. Now Jacob Marler. Good ball from Marler. He's got great vision and awareness, and they've got some pace to burn down this left-hand side as well. It's Amaral. Gets it back to Ryan Stewart. Amaral was looking for the return. Stewart's on the deck, and I think Noor was responsible for putting him there, but no foul, says the referee. And it's indeed going to be Stewart that ends up being the loser in that particular mini-argument. Lionel Tan gets it back. He's looking for Shawal Anwar there, nothing doing. Bit of space for Irfan to try and pick a pass here. Goes central. Trying to control it was Hani Shahin, and they get it back to Danielong, and surely they want to be putting Danielong under some pressure. He's not looked entirely convincing with his clearances from feet so far. Here's Shawal Anwar. Haven't seen Shawal Anwar manage to get any clear runs through. We know he's got pace to burn. Oh, that was a heavy touch and a poor touch from Zach Anderson, and all of a sudden the Young Lions could be in business. It's Kyrene Nadin gets the shot away, and it's spilled by Danielong, but he recovers well, the Hougang keeper. And there was just that moment's hesitation here. Well, what's he given here? Has he given a penalty here? What on earth has happened here? Danielong is in the book, and I can only assume he's given a penalty. Well, I didn't even see a Young Lions appeal here. Let's have a look at the replay if we can. Mystifying there. I actually thought it was the Young Lions player that was going to go into the book. I think it was Noor Adam for following this one up. They should have reacted a bit quicker to this shot that came in from Kyrene Nadin. And it was Noor Adam. Now, what happens here? Noor Adam goes there. What on earth? Is he given a penalty? That's extraordinary. Puzzled looks. Clement Teo's absolutely fuming. You can see him in the bottom of your screen there with the 4th official. That is one of the most peculiar penalty decisions I've ever seen. The Young Lions care little. Jacob Marler looking to step up to score once again. Jacob Marler on the hunt for his 2nd goal of the season, and a goal that would level this one up just before the half-hour mark after an extraordinary penalty decision, and Jacob Marler dispatches it brilliantly. Hougang won, the Young Lions won. The debate on that penalty decision will go on for weeks. But the Young Lions are back in business, and on balance, they probably just about deserve to be on level terms as well. Brilliant penalty from Jacob Marler. There's absolutely no chance for young Daniel Wong, who's having a first start of the season to forget at the moment, unfortunately. The penalty decision, I'm sure we'll get another look at it, the incident at half-time. The referee Zulfikar pointing to the spot without any hesitation, without any real appeals for the penalty from the Young Lions. But they've picked it up, they've slotted it home, and we're all square here. And Jacob Marler's rise to prominence continues as skipper of the Young Lions with his 2nd goal of the campaign. When you get a chance in a minute, when the camera pans to the right, you'll see the Hougang Hools over on that far side flying their flag. They're trying to get right behind their team. Stanish Irfan. The Young Lions have found a rather unconventional route back into this. I have to see it again. Maybe I missed something in that challenge from Danielong. If I did, I have to apologise. There was no hesitation with that penalty. He looked to clearly get to that ball first before Noor Adam got there, and he's, oh my word, Dan Yulong's a braver man than me, showing great composure there initially to free himself of the attention of the young Lions, but then the clearance from feet again wasn't the most impressive. So the scores tonight in the AIA Singapore Premier League as the second half of the season officially begins. Balestier Khalsa 0, Tampines Rovers 2, and here at Hougang, it's Hougang United 1, the Young Lions 1. Ryan Stewart through the midfield, Jacob Marler noticeably playing in a more advanced role this afternoon. Ryan Stewart leaves that one to Khairul Nadim. Jacob Marler confirmed as the goal scorer from the penalty spot in the 29th minute of this one. Played back by Shafiq Ghani. Headed through to Jaime Shahin. Now Noor Adam, who won that penalty. He's got the young Lions back in here. Jacob Marler bundled off the ball. That doesn't happen very often, but Shawal Anwar's allowed them to get a shot away from goal, and the shot came in from Amarul. And Dan Yulong made amends for the penalty slip by making a very smart save there. It's good hustle from Amarul. Got the better and went past in the end. Lionel Tannen got the shot away. So another set piece. Going to stop the corner, but they will come up with the throw. Just to confirm, it's actually the second corner for the Young Lions there that they've just taken. So Young Lions with 2 corners so far to Hougang's 1, and they're, I think you have to say, just about edging this at the moment. Oh, the Young Lions might be back in it on level terms fortuitously, but they've already managed 8 shots on goal, if you include the penalty, that is. And they're showing a lot of attack and ambition, and here's Jacob Marler again. Looks hungry, doesn't he? Turned inside, Jaime Shahin just went over the top. That's going to be beyond Amarul, and Dan Yulong can let that one drift out. Hougang need to get some momentum back here. It's a nice bit of skill from Farhan Zulkifli, running into a bit of a dead end eventually. It's Faiz. Really pressing here, the Young Lions. And Dan Yulong is by far the busier of the 2 keepers. All Ridwan's had to really do is, unfortunately for him, pick the ball at the back of the net after Zach Anderson gave the Cheetahs an early lead. Since then, it's been the Young Lions doing most of the pressing. Noor Adam looking dangerous once again. And Dan Yulong, I think he was a bit angry with himself. He didn't catch that cleanly, but he got second prize by at least turning it away from any potential danger. So the third corner of the evening for the Young Lions. It comes 10 minutes before the break, and they turn this one around and go in at half-time in front. That would be something spectacular for sure. Jaime Shahin's corner. In it comes. Oh, bit of improvisation and a chance to go for 2-1, and somehow it stays out. Shahid Akmal with a great chance to give the Young Lions the lead after uncertain defending from Hougang. And now there's going to be a yellow card to Ryan Stewart. These yellow cards keep coming. This is a game that's already given us a barrow load of controversy, and there's going to be more to come. It's the kind of game that's spicing up, where red cards could be on the way in the second stanza. 3 young lions already on a yellow. Ryan Stewart joining Noor Adam and Syed Akmal on yellow cards. It was Syed Akmal that really should have put the young lions in front there. And as they came away at pace, trying to launch a counter with Farhan Zulkifli, Ryan Stewart was penalised for the foul. And a Zaplin. They're rocked here, Hougang. It's the young lions that are having the better of this, there's no question about it. Hami Shahin, can they make this current territorial dominance count and turn it into goals, though? They've got that penalty to level it up. You have to say at this point, if they went into half-time in front, you couldn't say they didn't deserve it. No foul there. Good decision from referee Zulfikar, that one. No complaints from the young lions as Hougang finally try to get moving. Shafiq Ghani was trying to find a way through to Nazrul. Wasn't happening. Confirmation of Ryan Stewart becoming the 4th player in this game. In fact, make that 5, of course, because Daniel Ong picked up a yellow card for the penalty decision as well. Never mind giving away a penalty. That challenge was deemed worthy of a yellow card. Very strange. Now the throw goes the way of the young lions. Sure, you're picking up the noise of the hauls over on that far side behind the fencing. If the ball comes to the right-hand side, you'll see them. There they are, the Hougang hauls. To their credit, they do appear to be employing safe distancing, which is good to see. Of course, no fans allowed in the stadium here. Strict COVID-19 safety protocols. The FAS and the AIA Singapore Premier League have done a wonderful job to get the season back started as we build up towards our conclusion in a 2-round campaign in the first week in December, with the champions, of course, for the first time going straight into the AFC Champions League group stage. And at the moment, Tampines in possession of that top spot, which doesn't look like it's going to change anytime soon, certainly not in the next week, if they follow through their current 2-0 lead against Balestier to take 3 points. They lead at the top of the table. We'll be back out to 5 in front of Albirex, chasing them in second, and Man City Sailors will have a chance to join the Albirex team on 14 points with their game tomorrow against Tanjung Pagar. This round of games, the reverse fixtures to the ones that started the season. Seems such a long time now, doesn't it? Back at the beginning of March. Here come Hougang, shown very little going forward since the goal. Shafiq Ghani. Here's Nazrul. Nazrul looking for Shawal Anwar in the middle. Irfan wins it well, and they can be in business here with Noor Adam, who's got space in front of him here. Noor Adam now, he's pinged from the back, and the referee's going to get another card out here. So add another name into the list of players picking up cards, and I don't think the referee had many options there but to get the card out once again. Have another look at that challenge if we can. It was taking one for the team, I think it's known. Just waiting confirmation that it is Nikesh that goes in the book rather than Faiz. But an entertaining game this. The first 40 minutes have flown by. Young Lions being very competitive. A credit to coach Nasri Nasir, who I think is establishing himself here as quite a tactical coach, the way he contained Tampines for large periods of that game, which they did lose 1-0, and here, how they've been very competitive and certainly more, what's the word? More adventurous is the word I'm looking for in their endeavours here in the first half against a Hougang team who you get the suspicion Coach Nasri thinks is there for the taking. Nikesh Singh Sidhu confirmed as in the referee's book. So that's now 3 cheaters and 3 lions in the book. Just trying to cast my mind back to whether we've had a red card. Yes, we have, I think, in the Singapore Premier League since the COVID resumption. We certainly have. Certainly had a hat-trick, haven't we, with Stipe Plazabet back in a hat-trick in that 7-1 win against Palestine. Here's Ryan Stewart. Are we going to get a hat-trick tonight? There's two defenders at the moment that are 1/3 of the way to getting one. Here's another defender, Lionel Tan. Plays that out well. Young Lions really controlling this game at the moment. They're the ones dictating terms. Looking comfortable. Well, we mentioned Ilhan Fandi, an option on the bench for the Young Lions. The way it's going for Hougang, you have to start looking at who their options from the bench are. Not exactly plentiful. Charlie Matchell, former Darlington man, who was playing his training various leagues around Southeast Asia. He's an option on the bench in midfield. I think he's working his way back to something like full fitness. As the Young Lions go down on the edge of the area again. Now, what's the decision here? Free kick right on the edge. And for a minute, I thought that might have been inside the box. Faiz penalised. And again, the replay here will be interesting. Noor Adam, the man on the deck. It was Noor Adam that won the first penalty. I think the referee spot on his Zulfikar. I think it was just outside the area. It was certainly a foul. Let's have a look at this. But it was outside the area just, and it was a tag team, wasn't it? Faiz and Farhan Zulkifli bundling Noor Adam over. Now this, bearing in mind they've not looked steady at the back so far, Hougang, is a real opportunity. Surely if you're Noor Adam, you just want to get this into the edge of that 6-yard box at pace and try and get Jacob Marler on the end of it. Could even try a shot from a narrow angle here. That's how Hougang caught Tampines out a couple of weeks ago. They lay it back to the edge of the area. The shot comes in, and it's just wide. Not really too close for comfort. And it's a goal kick. Well, they opted against the 6-yard. I would have gone through the 6-yard route just to try and bring more uncertainty about, but when the shot came in from Hami Shahin, it was wide and right up the other end. Finally, Hougang gets some possession in the Young Lions' final third, but it only results in a goal kick to the visitors, who've been the better team here through the first half. There's no question about that. And the spirit and resolve they showed to recover from going a goal down after a very deft header from Zach Anderson early on has given Clementio food for thought here. They'll be talking about the penalty decision. It'll be interesting to see if Clementio wants a word with Zulfikar at half-time. Meanwhile, can they pop up with a goal against a run of play? Not like that. It was a good passage of play from Afik Noor, but it's broken down very quickly. And here's Hami Shahid in space, and Azaplin doing well. Lionel Tan. Zach Anderson back to Lionel Tan again, and I think Hougang going to be keen to get into half-time here just to try and work things out, because it's been a very interesting first half of football that's certainly giving us no shortage of talking points. Zach Anderson's 17th minute opener cancelled out on the half-hour mark by Jacob Marler from the penalty spot after Daniel Ong was deemed to have fouled Noor Adam as he chased the loose ball. Oh, Jacob Marler's been pulled back there. This is going to be another yellow card. They really are mounting up here. And he's already on a yellow, he's gone. Well, Shafiq Ghani, who was one of the first players in the book in the first half, well, that was certainly, I don't know what you thought about the first one, maybe that wasn't worthy of a yellow, but that foul certainly was as he tagged back Jacob Marler. And Shafiq Ghani is off just before half-time. And Hougang are down to 10. And a night that started in the best possible way for them with Zach Anderson giving them the lead. It's gone badly, badly wrong here. And Clementio has got some serious rebuilding to do at half-time. It was a poor piece of control, and you're always going to go into the book for that, and he must have known it. He was already on a yellow. The first yellow card, you can argue, was potentially soft, but he set his stall-out referee, Zulfikar, with a flurry of early cards. And the red card we thought was going to come in the second half has actually come right at the end of the first. Now, what can they do with the set piece? Noor Adam won it. And Noor Adam's shot is over the bar. No worries there for Daniel Ong. So we're into time added on for stoppages at the end of a quite frantic first 45 here. 2 goals, a red card, and the promise of plenty more action to come in the second stanza. Clement Teo, you can see him at the bottom of your screen there, does not look a happy man. I'm sure he'll be wanting words with referee Zulfikar. He's usually quite a calm and composed guy, but the penalty decision, which I'm sure will give you a chance to look back on again during the half-time break, is a real head-scratcher. The red card, what did he think of the first yellow? He definitely had to go into the book for the second time there, and as a player, even if you think the first yellow card is soft, you know you're on a yellow, you can't commit that kind of challenge. There's another challenge that goes in, this time from Nazrul on Irfan. The young Lions have got the cheaters rattled here. It's the Cubs getting the better of the battle of the Big Cats live. AIA Singapore Premier League action. The second half of the season is officially underway. Tampines leading Balestier 2-0 at Bishan, and here we're all square. But Hougang will play the second half with 10 men after Shafiq Ghani was sent off for a second bookable offence right on half-time. You can see the Hougang players trying to speak to Zulfikar. Clement Teo is interested as well, I think, with a chat for the referee. Coach Nasri's got his tactics spot on, maybe fortunate in how they came up with a penalty after Daniel Long was adjudged to have fouled Noor Adam. Zakana said it earlier, given Hougang a lead they barely deserve with a very deft header from a set piece of their own. Half-time here at the Hougang Stadium. Hougang United 1, the Young Lions 1, and just look at the right-hand corner of your screen there. Clement Teo is waiting to have a chat with referee Zulfikar, so keep an eye on that. We'll give you another look at that penalty decision as Clement Teo argues his case when we return in a couple of minutes. Welcome back live to Hougang, where no shortage of drama here as the second half of the season in the AIA Singapore Premier League has got underway with plenty to talk about, both here and at Bishan, where Balestier Khalsa have made things interesting by getting a goal back just before half-time, courtesy of Zuzu. They were trailing 2-0. They go into the break 2-1 down at Bishan against Tampines Rovers as they look the Stags to extend their lead at the top of the table here. Well, a very entertaining first half, not necessarily all for the right reasons. The young Lions have been very impressive indeed, with once again coach Nasri Nasir establishing himself as knowing what he's talking about when it comes to tactics. They did fall behind through Zachary Anderson's 17th minute header from a set piece, but then controversially the young Lions were put back into the game after a penalty decision that went the way of the visitors after Daniel Long had adjudged to have brought down Radam. Unfortunately, and again, there's nothing sinister in this, folks, so please don't suggest that. We're not going to be able, I think, to show you that penalty incident. We'll show you the goals, though. That was the deft back header from Zach Anderson. Question marks potentially over Ridwan's goalkeeping there, but it was just a good piece of individual anticipation. There's Jacob Marler's penalty on the 30th minute that was expertly dispatched to level it up at 1 apiece. But the talking point will be, and I'm sure they'll have a chat about it on the SPL show with Duncan Elias next week, the penalty decision that led to that. That was an effort from Radam, who's been very busy in the middle of the park, that was saved by Daniel Long. But they've had the better of it, no question about that, the young Lions. They've had more shots, they've had more possession, and now, of course, they've got more men on the field, because the other talking point, which I don't think we're going to be able to show you, is that second yellow card right on half-time when Shafiq Ghani. It was definitely a yellow the second time. I don't know what you think about the first yellow. Definitely a yellow the second one, and referee Zulfikar got the cards out nice and early, and when you do that, you always put yourself into a situation as a referee. Having said that, the players know they're on a yellow card. They've got to share the responsibility. 7 yellow cards and 1 red in that first half of football. And look at that, the young Lions, I don't think the young Lions have had 11 shots in the first half of a game for quite some time. Confirmation of Balestier Khalsa getting that goal right before half-time. They trail 2-1. Ryan Zanazao and Boris Kaponovic from the penalty spot giving the Stags the advantage. Zuzu making things interesting at the break there at Bishan. So plenty more great action to come. Do stay with us. The second half here is going to be absolutely fascinating at Hougang Stadium. It's 1-1 at the break. Hougang down to 10. And Ilhan Fandi, remember, an option on the bench for the young Lions. Stay with us. It's live AIA Singapore Premier League action. The second half of the 2020 season underway here tonight. Welcome back live to Hougang Stadium. Really looking forward to the second half that we got on the way here. 10-man Hougang United. After Shafiq Ghani saw red for a second yellow just before half-time, won. The Young Lions won, who equalised through Jacob Marler from the penalty spot in controversial circumstances after a very, I wouldn't say a soft-looking penalty decision. I'd say just a no penalty decision. Odd. Anyway, this was the opening goal. Zach Anderson, 16 minutes in. Really intelligent football from the Australian. I think he anticipated that Ridwan would be off his line, and his back looping header gave the home side the lead. Jacob Marler dispatching the controversial penalty quite brilliantly. His second goal of the season. He's been the Young Lions standout so far this campaign. They should really be in front. That was a great opportunity for Syed Akmal that he couldn't finish off. And as the substitutes warming up there for the Young Lions, including Ilhan Fandi, get ready to see if they'll be called into action. I can see that Charlie Mackle is stripped off, ready to go. You can see Charlie Mackle just having a chat, not actually in your shot there, but I can see, you're able to see it, Charlie Mackle. Yes, just to the right of shot there, you can see Charlie Mackle, the English midfielder. I can assure you there he is, getting ready to come on, just speaking to the team manager of Hougang. As he's really going to have to put in a shift here with that midfielder man down after the red card to Shafiq Ghani. The Englishman who's much travelled, just getting his way back to full fitness. So many of these players have had to work very hard to get fit in these extraordinary times. You can see him there with those tights on and a nervous touch of the hamstrings. Sure, that's going to be a concern for him, and it'll be a concern for Hougang. I suppose, blessing in some ways is they can make 5 substitutions here. But playing against the 11 men of the Young Lions in the second half, it's going to be difficult because the timing of that red card right on the stroke of half-time is going to really help Nasri Nasir's team talk. And Clement Teo, who did have words with referee Zulfikar as the officials and the teams trudged off at half-times, and he continues to, I think, debate what they will see as a lot of injustice. And I mean, we haven't had a chance to look back at the 2 yellow cards shown to Shafiq Ghani. The first one, you could argue, in the context of the game, not outrageous. And once you know you're on a yellow card, of course, not just the player, but the referee as well have backed themselves into a corner. And that said, well, we can talk about the merits of the penalty decision. Referee Zulfikar had no option but to send Shafiq Ghani off for that second card. There is the referee, the Hougang bench still talking to him. And I think that's nice, Clement Teo, there. I don't think there's any... I think Clement Teo is a very reasonable guy. There's no histrionics. We're not seeing Jose Mourinho carrying on or anything like that. It's showing good respect. I mean, listen, referee made a decision. Referee's decision is final, as we know. It'll be talked about, but luckily it's not been any histrionics from any of the coaches about what clearly is going to be a decision that will be talked about a little bit more in the days and weeks to come. So the officiating crew getting ready to come back on. The Young Lions are out from their dressing room, but haven't yet crossed the running track to go onto the field of play. And Charlie Mackle, I'm assuming, is going to come on. I'm just trying to work out who it might be for. We saw Shafiq Ghani. It may well be for Nikesh, because Nikesh is another player on a yellow card here, so wouldn't be the biggest surprise to me if Nikesh makes way. We'll get confirmation of that change for you in just a couple of moments' time. They're the Young Lions. Jacob Marler leading them out. They'll be fancying themselves here for their second 3-point haul of the season. A win here, even a draw, would take them off the bottom of the table tonight. He really is leading by example, Jacob Marler. I think I've gone about him a bit too much, but you can't help but be impressed. It's tough work skippering a Young Lions side that more often than not are struggling and are on the back foot, but he does a great job. It is Nikesh that's going to be replaced by Charlie Mackle. So Charlie Mackle on. For Nikesh. Nikesh's stint into the starting lineup's not exactly gone according to plan. He's lasted 45 minutes. There's referee Zulfikar. As the 10 men of Hougang are in a huddle and the 11 men of the Young Lions are raring to go here. I get the impression we could be in for a bit of a roller coaster in this second half, even more so than the first stanza. A reminder at Bishan Stadium, Balestier Council 1, Tampines Rovers 2 at half-time. That game just about to start their second half, and we start our second half here. It's Hougang in the blue shirts, white shorts rather, playing from left to right. The Young Lions in all red playing from right to left. Here's Anders Aplin. Anders Aplin with a good ball over the top, and it's found its target. Shawalamwa's into the area, bundled over there, screaming for a penalty here. And they're not going to get one. That was nearly a penalty inside the first 15 seconds of the second half. Referee dealing it a fair shoulder-to-shoulder challenge, but the assistant referee's flagging here. Now the assistant referee is flagging. Now what's he given? Now the assistant referee is flagging. What on earth has happened here? Now is he given offside or is he flagging for a penalty? Shawalamwa got goal side. He was bundled off it by Syed Akmal. And now he's given a free kick on the edge of the area. What an extraordinary passage of play. They're not going to get the penalty. They're getting a free kick on the edge of the area for what I'm not entirely sure. Referee's going to take the ball back 10. Well, they're going to get in the wall here. This has been a quite surreal game of football, this. The assistant referee that was flagging on this near side that's essentially given this free kick. And Charlie Mackle, who's been on the pitch for 90 seconds as a half-time substitute, can he give 10-man Hougang the lead here from a very central set piece? The wall is back the full 10. There's a couple of blue shirt spoilers in it as well, including the giant Zach Anderson. Are they going to find a breach in this Young Lions defence? Mackle straight into the back of the net. The Englishman's taken less than 2 minutes off the bench to score. And 10-man Cheetahs lead 11-man Young Lions by 2-1. Wonderful free kick from Charlie Mackle. And the former Darlington man makes his mark as a half-time substitute. Ridwan rooted to the spot. He didn't move. Brilliantly taken free kick. And I told you it might be a roller coaster. I'm still trying to work out what the free kick was given for. Maybe a suggestion of handball, was there? I'm not sure. I might get a chance to look at it later. But this is certainly one for the highlight reel here. More talking points through 47.5 minutes of football than I think we've had in the entire AIA Singapore Premier League since the restart combined. Extraordinary. So, the Young Lions have got to do it all again. Their first lead lasted all of 12 minutes last time. Hougang, can they hang on to the lead a little longer here? Well, the Young Lions, who would have approached the second half with such optimism and belief that they could get something from the game, have now got to start from scratch again. Jacob Marler. Well, that was a tug on the shirt there. I think Afiq Noor had a little pull of Ryan Stewart's shirt there. So they'll come up with a free kick, and now the referee wants to have a chat with Charlie Mackle. Jacob Marler to Amir Hakim. It's down the line, looking for the run of Amarul. And now it's going to be a corner. Anders Aplin fuming that he didn't get the free kick there. And that's borderline dissent. I think when he does something like that, this game, goodness knows what's going to happen next here. Over to take this corner, and they've had plenty of them, the young Lions, to this point. Not really made many of them count. This will be their fourth corner of the game. There's been 4 for the young Lions and just 1 to Hougang. Jaime Shahin takes it short, and they found some space there for Ryan Stewart, whose shot is blocked and out for a throw. Sherfan to take. How long before we see Ilhan Fandi? Surely won't be long if they continue to trail here. Not that the 11 on the pitch have done too much wrong. Certainly going forward, they've worked very hard, and they're trying to get Ryan Stewart in over the top here, and he's onside here, Ryan Stewart. Can he get the cross in? Weakly across the edge of the 6-yard box, and then 2 young Lions getting in each other's way there. Amir Hakim and Jaime Shahin, and just like that, Shawal Anwar showing his pace, and now there could be another yellow card coming out. Jaime Shahin, but he's simply got to book him on a line through the cards he's been showing so far, and he has. Jaime Shahin, not one of the players already on a yellow, and that makes it 8 yellows, if you include the second one that led to the red card for Shafiq Ghani. Don't think we've had a game in the AIA Singapore Premier League this season that's had double-digit yellow cards. This one's well on its way to having just that. Lionel Tan. Back to Zach Anderson. Now over the top from Lionel Tan, and he's shanked that one. It's out for a throw, but the young Lions peg back. I'm just looking down to see if there's any movement on the young Lions bench, and there is certainly a couple of them looking like there could be potentially getting set for action. Still obviously only 6.5 minutes into this second half. Headed on by Marla. It's over the top, but too much on that for Shawal Anwar. It'll come through to Ridwan, who I don't think was ever going to get to that free kick. What a score it was from Charlie Mackle. And we talked about it being Zach Anderson's first goal in Hougang colours. It's also Charlie Mackle's as well. So an Australian and an Englishman scoring their first ever AIA Singapore Premier League goals tonight, and their first goals for their club. But one assumes they're going to have more defending to do now with the young Lions so far, not really being able to make that man advantage count for much through the first 7.5 minutes. They were more impressive playing against 11 as Charlie Mackle now clips Jacob Marler. No need for a card there. Side Akmal. Down that right-hand side, it was between both Irfan and Noor Adam, and the blue shirts managed to get it away. Here come the Lions again. Amaral nearly caught out Anders Aplin, but the experienced Aplin does well, and he sends a good ball down the right-hand side that very nearly picks out Nazrul. Nazrul recovers well. Shawal Anwar. Now Danish Irfan over the top, but Amaral has got a lot of ground to make up on the big unit that is Lionel Tan. Got to be careful of the bounce here as Amir Hakim, and he's been pinched of the ball, and Hougang on another counter here that looks dangerous. Farhan Zulkifli, narrow angle, Farhan Zulkifli, and it's deflected off Ryan Stewart, and Ridwan does well to save the corner. It's a very bizarre game of football, this, isn't it? It's almost once one of those games you have to occasionally start looking at the situation twice. Here's Jacob Marler. Well, whatever Clement Teo has adjusted at half-time, of course he knew he was going to be playing the second half with 10 men. So far it's working. I think the ball is now going to be in Nasri Nasir's court to introduce Ilhan Fandi here. They need a bit more spark moving forward. They're down the right-hand side here, though. Look at the run of Khairul Nadim if they could get the ball to him, which they couldn't. And now Shawal Anwar. The experienced heads in the Hougang team at the moment are coming out on top, although having said that, miscontrol from Nasrul is unfortunate. We'll give the young lions a throw on halfway. They take it quickly with Danish Irfan. Jacob Mahler. Side Akmal. Drifted into the area, and it's found Amarul. Maybe with that first time ball across the face, trying to find Karim Nadim. But nothing doing. And still, no definitive signs of movement. Having said that, though, they are about to make a change, the young lions. And it's not Ilhan Fandi, it's Idraki Adnan, who can be a handful up top. He's a pacey player, got a lot of skills in his set. So Idraki is about to enter the fray. That's going to be the young lions' first change. Stand by for that. Meanwhile, they come trying to get this equaliser with Syed Akmal. Out to the right-hand side at Irfan. Nur Adam, the man that won that penalty in the first half. Ryan Stewart was an option, but they persevered, and it's out for a throw. Change is coming here. Now, who's going to make way for Idraki? It will be Nur Adam, but he's on a yellow card, Nur Adam, and he has been one of the brighter players for the young lions, but maybe Nasri Nasir just trying to shake things up a bit here. So Idraki replaces Nur Adam. Just over half an hour to go here at the Hougang Stadium, where it's 2-1 to the Cheetahs. Meanwhile, over at Bishan, last we heard it was the Stags leading Balestier by 2-1. And that's still the scoreline there. There's the Halls. You see them in the orange and black flags behind the grandstand there. Just to confirm to you, they're not actually in the stadium. No one allowed in the stadium for spectating for COVID-19 safety protocols. There have been a few hardy souls that are trying to look through fences, but by and large, they have been observing social distancing themselves independently, which is nice to see everyone taking this seriously. This resumption of football in Singapore post-COVID. Here's Danish. And as Aplin gets it out of play. There's Nur Adam, you can see just trotting around the back. And he's going... Is he going straight to the dressing room or to the bench? He certainly looks like he might be carrying a little bit of a knock. Here's Danish with the back flick. Gets it to Hani Shahin. Oh, and there's another nasty challenge, and again, it's Charlie Mackle, who's getting into a little combative zone with Ryan Stewart. Back to the live action. Hani Shahin's over this. This is pretty much the identical spot from where Hougang scored from their set piece through Zach Anderson in the first half. Can the Young Lions do to the Cheetahs what the Cheetahs did to them? Just comes off the back of the head of Zach Anderson. Got to admire Charlie Mackle appealing that as a goal kick. It was a corner all day long. They have got a height advantage at these set pieces, and you can see Zach Anderson just keeping an eye on where Jacob Mahler is. Idraki now in the mix to try and see if he can spice things up. It's a substitute to take the corner. Idraki delivers. And again, there was an opportunity for the Young Lions. Hougang not convincing. Jacob Mahler now tries to square it to the edge of the 6-yard box, but Anders Aplin sends it behind for another corner. Idraki will take it again. Jacob Mahler again will be the target. Some big units for Hougang in defence. Lionel Tan, Zach Anderson, Charlie Mackle's there as well. Delivery is decent, heads are up. It drops just to the edge of the area, where they get it as far as halfway, and now Amarul will again try and deliver a ball into the area, looking for Jacob Mahler, who wins it well in the air, but he wins it well illegally by climbing over the top of the Hougang defenders, and it's a free kick to the Cheetahs. Would you believe it? Balestier Khalsa have come from 2-0 down, and it's now 2-2 at Bishan. Balestier Khalsa 2, Tampines Rovers 2. That is an extraordinary scoreline. Remember, Balestier 7-1. They were thumped by the Sailors at the weekend. They've come from 2 down at Bishan against Tampines as Clement Teo has masterminded his side, throwing away a 1-goal lead, then going down to 10 men, but still managing to retake the lead just after half-time with his half-time substitute Charlie Mackle getting his first goal in Singapore. Ilhan Fandi is getting stripped off by the looks of things, ready for action here. We will be seeing Fandi the younger very shortly as the Young Lions try to find a way to get back into this game. Jacob Marler picks it up. Was that a push? Yes, it was. Lionel Tan is penalised for the push on Kairin Nadim. I wonder whether they'll leave Kairin Nadim on or whether they'll go with Nadim and Irfan. Or Ilhan, I should say. Apologies, getting my Fandis mixed up there up top. He was never 10 yards away from that free kick, by the way. The referee's made exactly the correct decision there. Shaul Anwar was never in a million years 10 yards away. Now he's going to bring that back after Jacob Marler quickly tried to get it through to Amarul. Well, the trouble you've got, and I have a modicum of sympathy for referees or for Gahe, because when there's been a couple of controversial decisions, it almost gives the players license to continue to moan without thinking they're doing anything wrong. But the referee made the right call there. Shaul Anwar was never 10 yards away. Ryan Stewart. Hougang containing the Young Lions comfortably enough. There's the shots on target. Hougang have scored from there, only 2. Meanwhile, the Young Lions into the area, goes down and it's headed straight into the hands of Daniel Ong. That's the closest the Young Lions have come in this second half as a magnificent sliding challenge comes in from Amir Hakim. Well, that was a good opportunity for the Young Lions. The header at close quarters came right in. And any position either side of Daniel Ong, and we're looking at 2-2 here. It's lovely work from Irfan, and it was Amarul with the header. Daniel Ong, grateful to see that go straight into his hands. That could be another free kick, and it is. This time, I think Norping for the foul. They want to take it quickly. Ryan Stewart, or this game, not being funny, starting to look like a game that could produce more than one red card. We've already had 7 yellows and a red. Here's Ryan Stewart. Keep an eye on Danish Irfan, who's loitering on the edge of the area nearest to us here. But that's a criminal from Ryan Stewart. I mean, it would have been have to be something very special. Having said that, I suppose you can argue Daniel Long at times has looked a little bit shaky, so maybe taking some pot shots from range is not the worst tactic in the world, but they need to mix things up here, and they are about to do so, the Young Lions. There's going to be a multiple substitution about to be made. We are going to see Ilhan Fandi for the first time since he was signed off from completing his latest involvement in national service, which if you are watching from outside Singapore, all young Singapore men have to perform their national service duty. It's a rite of passage here in the Lion City State. But Ilhan Fandi's back. He scored in this fixture, remember, on the reverse at Geelong West on match day 1 when Hougang won that one 4-1. Daniel Ong can only get that to the sidelines. And they'll come again. Also joining Ilhan in coming into the fray is going to be Safi Jubri. Meanwhile, here's Jacob Marler. Ryan Stewart. Ryan Stewart up against Charlie Mackle, does well. And they try to release Danish Irfan down this left-hand side, and it doesn't go according to plan. So a double change on the way for the Young Lions, making their second and third permitted changes now. Referee going to let them take this throw first? I think he is. Fourth official not quite ready. And Zaplin with the throw. Headed out by Ryan Stewart. I wonder whether we're going to see a formation change or whether Kairin Nadim will make way for Ilhan. We'll find out now. It will be Karin Nadim making way for Ilhan Fandi. Fandi the younger coming on, and Safi will be replacing Irfan Hajib. It's not the worst game at all, Irfan Hajib. Irfan Hajib replaced by Safli. Hougang have displayed good game management in this second half, playing with 10. They obviously got the controversial free kick right at the start of the half to give themselves back the lead, and so far game management's been immaculate from Clement Teo tactically, and the young Lions are going to need Ilfan to have an impact here to get back into this. Even playing against 10, it's handball against Farhan Zulkifli. So a dramatic day and night in the AIA Singapore Premier League. 2-1 here. It's still 2-2 at Bishan. Balestier Kauser have come from 2 down, and they're now all square with the Stags. Mentioned Zuzu got them back into the game right on half-time, and he's got another 10 minutes after the break to make it 2-2. Daniel Long came out and gathered that well. Lionel Tan. It was a ball to no one and nowhere, and it's out for a throw. As Ilhan Fandi. His brother Irfan doing wonderful things at BG Patum in Thailand, just on his way back from a nasty shoulder injury that's kept him out for a couple of months. And of course Iksan doing very well himself in Norway. It's over the top. And they get it back to Ryan Stewart, who slips at an inopportune moment there and will win a free kick, but it looked like a slip to me. The referee saw a touch. Not too much in the way of complaining from Hougang. And again, it gives them a really attractive set-piece position here. And once again, that kind of position where you could, if you had a good dead ball specialist here, you could almost think about going for goal and trying to put Daniel Long under some pressure in his first start. And already have had his confidence rattled by conceding that mysterious penalty in the first half. There was a couple of other moments where he's looked not entirely confident under the high ball. What can Jaime Shahin do here? Jaime Shahin, is he going to go for goal? No, he doesn't. To the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's sat up well for Amir Hakim with no blue shirt near him. But on the turn, he blasted it over. Now Faiz is on the deck, and is he taking his captain's armband off or just adjusting it? Is he gearing up? There's no mass panic on the Hougang substitute bench. They are moving now. I think he may believe his night's over here. The skipper, Faiz Salah, back in the starting lineup today. Charlie Mackle's over and deep in conversation with Clement Teo. Reminder, we will have a hydration break midway through this half, and just like that, the clock is ticking round quite quickly, approaching the 67-minute mark here, and Faiz Salah's night is done, I believe. He's hobbling back, the captain's armband's back on, but there is a change coming. Hougang are about to introduce Fabian Kwok. Great to see Fabian Kwok back, by the way. He was another player that was left a little bit stranded by COVID in terms of his footballing career. He's had injury issues, and great to be able to see him back in action, Fabian Kwok. That's a miscue from Zach Anderson, and they've let Idraki get to the edge of the area. He finds Ilfan, whose shot is blocked
by Zach Anderson. First glimpse of Ilfan. And now there's going to be another free kick. Now Jaime Shahin's on a yellow. He's going to go as well. Jaime Shahin was on a yellow. He's off. He's going to follow Shafiq Ghani down the tunnel. And now it's 10 on 10. Second yellow card for the foul on Farhan Zulkifli. Again, the replay will be interesting. He's protesting his innocence, Jaime Shahin, but he's gone. Referee's not going to change his mind, and we're now 10 on 10 here. With so many yellow cards shown through the first half, a second red was always liable. As Lionel Tan almost looks on commiserating, I think, with Jaime Shahin. There's nothing really malicious in it, but again, when the referee shows so many yellow cards early, it's obviously putting the referee in a spot, but the players have to take responsibility as well when they know they're on yellow cards. Change is coming. And Fabian Kwok has now got the captain's armband on himself, I think, as Faiz Salah's night is over. Still down on the deck in some discomfort is Farhan Zulkifli. As the Hools continue their energetic banging of the drums over on the far side, outside of the stadium. And now Ilhan's getting involved with Anders Aplin. There's the replay. Well, again, it's clumsy. The studs were slightly up, weren't they? Can I have a look at that one more time? I wouldn't mind seeing that one more time if we can, maybe even in slow motion. I'd be keen to see that as we stop for the drinks break again, if it's possible, because I think what did for Jaime Shahin there is the fact that as he went in, it wasn't a full-blooded, full-committed challenge, but the studs were raised ever so slightly. Have a look at this. Well, again, looking at it again, was it, you know, Zach Anderson's furious. The studs were up, and when you go in like that, you are liable to pick up a yellow card. Now, Anders Aplin and Ilhan getting involved with each other there in the aftermath of that as well. That's continued subsequently while we were watching the replays. Well, the talking points have been aplenty here. Confirmation as well that Faiz has been replaced by Fabian Kwok. Great to see Fabian back. And at the moment, Clement Teo's tactics in the second half have been spot on, and you have to say the Young Lions haven't taken advantage of playing against 10, and now they pay the price because they're down to 10 themselves. Another goal here for Hougang, and you fancy the points could be safe. Certainly no point safe anywhere at the moment tonight in the AIA Singapore Premier League, including at Bishan, where Balestier, Khalsa and Tampines are 2 each. And now Hougang are incensed by another challenge that has left Nazrul. Is it Nazrul on the bench there? Just my view obscured in Hougang Stadium at Shawal Anwar. Apologies, not Nazrul. That was very committed indeed by Amir Hakim. And it's going to give them a free kick, which is in essence a short corner here. Charlie Mackel, whose set-piece brilliance gave Hougang back the lead right after half-time. I think it'll take something special from that angle to go direct for goal, but you can be assured that Zach Anderson's going to be running onto this on the edge of the 6-yard box like an absolute steam train. Mackel with the free kick. Anderson's up there, and Jacob Marler just got a touch before the big Australian, and Ridwan can gather. Anders Aplin tidies up for Hougang. As we enter the final 18 minutes of what has been, for the most part, quite an absorbing encounter. Puzzling at times. We've had great goals. Zach Anderson's deft header, Charlie Mackel's brilliant free kick, Jacob Marler's well-dispatched penalty. Talking points in the red cards. If you're just joining us, Shafiq Ghani shown red right on half-time for 2 yellow card offences, and then Jaime Shahin following him just moments ago for his second yellow card offence. And there are plenty of other players out there walking a tightrope as well. Charlie Mackel, Lionel Tan. We heard from Clement Teo pre-match that he wasn't entirely sure that the boys that have just come back from a national service stint were fully fit, so It'll be interesting to see if Ilhan has not just got the fitness, I'm sure he's got enough fitness naturally to get through 20 minutes of SPL football, whether he's got the match sharpness that he's going to need to try and capitalise and get the better of that back three of Aplin, Tan and Anderson. They fought really well in the second half against Tanjung Bagata, pick up what to this point has been their only win of the season. The Young Lions, they're going to need some of that resolution here as Jacob Mahler makes a rare miscue. Dan Yulong will be taking his time here. How about that headed chance through Amaral in this second half, which was straight at the keeper. And Nasir, I'm sure, has made his main changes from the bench that he thinks can really impact this game. There's no real standouts still to come off the bench. Maybe Harris Stewart, given a chance, the younger brother of Ryan. They've got defending to do now, though. As the ball's out for another corner. It should be Hougang fourth, I think. I think we're up to 8 corners now, 4 apiece. Apologies, not 4 apiece. This is only Hougang's second. It's 6-2. The Young Lions lead the corner count. Here's the delivery. Not too shabby, the delivery from Afik Noor. Now chasing it down is Farhan Zulkifli, and he will get there and keep it in, and does well to win a throw. Yeah, the stats, the tale of the tape for this game, quite fascinating really. Hougang have the lead. They've been second best in the possession department. They've been second best on the corner count. Young Lions have actually picked up more yellows than Hougang, and both teams have picked up a red card apiece. Play back. Farhan Zulkifli, and out for another throw. They've just taken this thing out this game. You have to hand it to Clement Teo. I was waxing lyrical about Nasri Nasir and the way he'd approached that recent game against Tampines to frustrate the Stags, who themselves weren't at their best, nowhere near it. Oh, there's a snapshot from Fabian Kwok. That had been a great way to reintroduce yourself to life in the AIA Singapore Premier League. Gone out for a throw, I think it is. It was so far wide. Yeah, but having talked so much about Nasri Nasir and the limitations of working with this Young Lions squad and making the best of situations to get wins like they did against Tanjung Bagara and run Tampines close, and scoreline at least a couple of weeks back. But the second half, Clement Teo working on his team at half-time has mapped this out to perfection as that snapshot comes in from Shawal Anwar. Well wide. And you have to say it's a little bit muted. They're right below me, the Young Lions bench, and there's not really much buzz about them. And the trouble is losing becomes a habit, doesn't it? And when you're used to losing games more often than you're winning them, you almost start to get resigned to your fate when you're trying to raise yourself for that final push. And they are inside the final quarter of an hour now here. These games being shown live on Singtel Star Hub in Singapore, across the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, social media channels, One Play Sports as well, and various other outlets around the world. Still 2-2 at Bishan between the Tigers and the Stags. Balestier Council 2, Tampines Rovers 2. Zuzu with the brace to peg the league leaders back. And oh, Zach Anderson's playing a dangerous game there. Under real pressure here, and eventually they want... I think they wanted the penalty initially for something that led to Ilfan Fandi going down. They're not going to get it. They did get a penalty without it appeared in the first half. I don't think Lightning was going to strike twice there. Danielon gets it clear. Here's a touch and the first mention in play for Safli Jabri. There's another look at Zach Anderson, this time shielding the ball out from the run of Ryan Stewart. He's put in plenty of work rate, Ryan Stewart. his brother, remember, on the bench. But the clock is now no longer a friend of the Young Lions as we are approaching the final 10 minutes. Can they get the ball to Ilhan Fandi for just a chance? One of Singapore's most promising young strikers, or a false nine, I think, if you listen to the experts on these things. I think the idea is there's so much to his game, just calling him an out-and-out striker probably doesn't do him justice. Jacob Marler wins that really well in the air. But it's Hougang that come up with it, and they've got space for Afiq Noor. The yellow card can. Oh, this is broken to Shawal Anwar. Could be 3-1 and game, set, match! Wonderful finish, Shawal Anwar. They capitalise on the Young Lions' mistakes. I think he's injured himself in scoring, maybe just a bit of cramp. And that's the points wrapped up for the Cheetahs now. They've played a half of football with 10 men. They've seen the Young Lions themselves succumb to a red card. They've bounced back from a controversial penalty decision in the first half as well. And Hougang will be picking up their first win here at the Hougang Stadium in 3 years. And just their third win of their league season. Shawal Anwar showing his experience. Another mistake. Ryan Stewart, I think, has to put his hand up and take responsibility for that. But take nothing away from Shawal Anwar. He showed pace, won the ball well, created the opening, and the finish was perfect past Ridwan, who had no chance. They're going to be playing with 9 for moments because he's still recovering from the cramp that kicked in as he finished that effort off. Ryan Stewart to Amir Hakim. Jacob Marler. There's so many top talents in this Young Lions team. It's just the strength and depth sometimes you feel they haven't got to compete. Here's Ryan Stewart. Twisting and turning, he's going to need support here. Ilhan's dropped off. Ryan Stewart up against Afiq Noor. Does well, Ryan Stewart. Can he get the crossing? Yes, he can. Can they get on the end of it? Not yet, they can't, but maybe Jacob Marler can pull the trigger. Jacob Marler blocked by Zach Anderson and then belted away. Just don't think of what we've seen in this second half. The Young Lions have got 2 more goals in them, do you? They've not scored more than 2 goals in a game all season and only managed that once in the 2-1 win against Tanjung Bagara. As another wild challenge comes in that leads to a free kick. No card this time. I think Fabian Kwok's asking the question why no card was shown. Drifting harmlessly into the hands of Ridwan, but the damage you feel has been done. 2 second half goals, one in the 48th minute and one in the 80th minute by substitute Charlie Maka with a fine free kick, and then Shawal Anwar with his second goal in 3 games, coming up with a goal that got the 1-1 draw against the Lion City Setters at Bishan. It's his 3rd of the season as well, after a goal in the 2-1 defeat here against Geylang in March, which was another game. Must be something about Hougang Stadium. Remember those 2 crazy goals in that match here at Hougang in March. Shawal Anwar, is he in the mood for another? He's budged out the way there by Amir Hakim. No free kick. Clement Teo's furious about that, but shoulder's his shoulder. Those tend to come down to interpretation. Amir Hakim getting away with one maybe there. Meanwhile, at Bishan, Balestier Khalsa and Tampines still 2-2 here. Are Tampines Rovers going to throw away 2 points? They'll be kicking themselves if they do. Can the Young Lions mount a comeback here with Amarul? Decent cross. Ilhan was leaning back and fell over. And Daniel Long can gobble it up and wind some more seconds off the clock. Talk about the Young Lions scoring more than 1 goal in a game. Only once this season. This is only the 2nd time in the league that Hougang have scored 3 or more. The other time, of course, being in that 4-1 win against the Young Lions at Jurong West at the start of the season, the very first game of the campaign. 1 more goal would see them match that scoreline. Anders Aplin roaming forward. Anders Aplin, still Anders Aplin. Can Anders Aplin finish this one off? Oh, yes, he can! That's a cracking score from Anders Aplin, and it looks like we are going to have a repeat of the scoreline from March now. They stood off a mile from Anders Aplin, and he's finished it beautifully, giving Ridwan no chance once more. Hougang 4, the Young Lions 1. And after a 45 minutes in the first half of such promise from the Young Lions, they really are falling apart in some fashion now. Well, Anders Aplin, I bet he couldn't believe his luck. They stood off. There was a slip just to compound the problems by Syed Akmal. But this is an absolute beauty, the finish with his left foot. Lovely touch, the final touch to take it wide, to give him the space to pull the trigger. Really quality finish from Anders Aplin, who gets his first goal of the season to put an exclamation mark on the win for Hougang in a game where they were second best for much of the first half, albeit Young Lions got back on level terms through a controversial penalty, and it's looking like there could be time for more goals for Hougang as well. Young Lions are about to make their final change. As a double change. It's going to see the younger Stewart brother, Harris Stewart, and Mark Ryan Tan, who's been used sparingly in recent weeks, back on as Idraki tries to get on the end of that, but Daniel Long can gobble it up. Haven't unfortunately had much of a chance to see Ilhan Fandi make an impact since his introduction with just over a quarter of an hour to go. Daniel Long sends that one long. Shabalam was offside. So the change is coming. Amir Hakim to be replaced by Harris Stewart. And Mark Ryan Tan, well, Amaral, I would imagine, would be a candidate for Mark Ryan Tan to replace. He's just joining us. We've had 5 goals, 2 red cards, a very controversial penalty, and plenty to talk about. It will be Ryan Stewart, the elder Stewart brother, that's replaced by Mark Ryan Tan. He's worked hard, Ryan Stewart, but I think maybe fatigue leading to a couple of mistakes in his game in the latter part of this fixture that's going to see Hougang pick up the 3 points. Now, of course, in terms of where that leaves them in the table, they started the night in 6th. They could potentially, depending on what happens with Balestier, jump from 6th to 3rd with this win, which would be something. Obviously, the teams around them would have a game in hand. But Balestier currently with the point they've got. Will also move up to 12 points, but the goal difference, bearing in mind what happened to them against the Lion City Sailors, will be inferior. So unless Balestier come back and steal a winner from that game, which really would be incredible, Hougang are going to jump from 6th to 3rd in the table tonight. It's cramp setting in to a few players as we reach the final stages here. Stretchers coming out as the latest man to go down is Afik Noor. Oh, sorry boys, they trotted halfway across the pitch. Now they say they don't need him, and Afik Noor is just going to hobble off. Clement Teo may decide to make another change here. There's no way back for the Young Lions now, but can they get another goal? Consolation just to give them some positive vibes ahead of the next game, which is at Geelong West against Tampines next week. They follow Hougang tonight with Tampines next week, then a 4-day break to a trip to Balestier, then to Albirex, and then home games against the Lion City Sailors in Geylang before they conclude their campaign away at Geelong East at Tanjung Pagar. Here's the change for Hougang. Justin Chui coming on to replace Cheryl Anwar, who I think is just being rested after that little bit of cramp. Well worked back for Ilhan, who's had to drop very deep to try and affect play there. Thrown over on that far side. Disappointing second half. Obviously goals and talking points, but it really looked like it was bubbling up for a competitive contest, this. And you have to hand it to Clement Teo. I was full of praise for Renasier's tactics in the first half, where the Young Lions were the better team. Second half, Clement Teo faced with the team of 10. He brought Charlie Macalon, who's quietly had an effect in the middle of the field, shoring them up, and also came out with that stunning free kick, of course, seconds after the restart. But Clement Teo fixed what he had to fix at half-time, and even with a handicap of playing against 11 men with 10 for half of the second stanza, they've been much the best in the second half, and the Young Lions have really threatened. Here's Mark Ryan Tan, always looks attractive with ball at feet. Sometimes the final product not necessarily always there. Confirmation, by the way, that Justin Hui replaced Shawal Anwar, not Afik Noor. And there will be 4 minutes of time added on. And as I look out there, they're actually, 1, 2, 3. Yep. There obviously was a bit of substitution confusion there, but they are playing with 10, is what the number they should be playing with. Still 2-2 at Bishan. So we're into the first of 4 minutes of time added on. Can Ilhan Fandi sign off tonight's action with something spectacular? Ilhan, that's never going to dip down quickly enough, and Dan Yalong can just watch it glide over the bar. And just to round off the substitutions, we're also going to say farewell to Farhan Zulkifli from this game, and a chance to see Norful Asman, the under-23 new signing up front for Hougang, is going to get a run out of seconds rather than minutes. Norful coming on for his Hougang debut, the signing that Clement Teo mentioned in his pre-match interview. The drama continues where they're nearly into injury time at Bishan. Tampines Rovers, are they going to throw 2 points away? They led 2-0 in cruise control. Zuzu with a goal out of nothing just before the break for Balestier, and Zuzu just after the restart levelling it up. So a 2-all thriller at Bishan here. The experience of Hougang has overrun at times a naive Young Lions team in this second stanza. Having looked so good in the first 45, they're going to come away from here empty-handed. They'll be talking about that penalty decision in the first half that allowed Jacob Marler to equalise Zach Anderson's very deft-headed opening goal for quite some time, but Clement Teo has managed this game brilliantly in the second half. The Young Lions, of course, not helped by themselves being reduced to 10 men. The story of the red card, Shafiq Ghani, 2 yellow cards, with the second one being shown just before half-time. Then Hami Shahin for 2 yellows, the second one being shown midway through the second half. But in truth, even when they were playing 10 against 11 in the second half, Hougang looked the better team, which was a complete reversal from the situation in the first 45 minutes. And Zach Anderson with Charlie Mackle battling. It's well won by Danish. But great again once more to see Fabian Kwok back. A little bit fruity. Referee wants a word here, maybe a bit of dissent. And he's also having to trot down for an injury. He's only been on the pitch for a matter of seconds. Poor old Norful Asman, the new signing, and he's in some discomfort. It can't be cramp. He's only been on the pitch for 60 seconds. That does look like... Oh, I hope it's not his knee. But the way they're quite liberally moving the limb would suggest it's not a serious injury, maybe just a muscle, but rather innocuous. Happened off camera, certainly. And that's not the way you want to start your Hougang career. He'd only joined the club post-COVID restart to give them some much needed strength up front with the departure of Stipe Plazimat to the Lion City Sailors. We're into the final seconds of what I'm sure will be only 4 minutes of time added on. There won't be much point in referee Zulfikar adding on any further time. They're into the second of 4 minutes at Bishan, where Balestier, Khalsa and Tampines are still 2-2. And Tampines, who've led the league for so long, if they only pick up a point here, the lead at the top will only be 3 points to Albirex Niigata. Let's have a look back at some of the action while that player is stretched it off. This was Anders Aplin with an absolute screamer. Arguably the goal of the game, as good as Charlie Mackle's free kick was. Meanwhile, back to the live action. Zach Anderson to take the free kick long. Yeah, that's an absolute stunner from Anders Aplin to make it 4-1 with just 5 minutes to play. So I think the next time the ball goes in the air, our referee, Zulfikar Mustafa, will think about playing for full time here. And at times a surreal game. It certainly entertained us this Thursday night. And don't forget, 2 more great Singapore Premier League matches to come tomorrow. Another game at Bishan tomorrow. Interesting to see how that pitch holds up. The Lion City Sailors, who, if Tampines don't find a winner in the closing seconds, will have another chance to close the gap at the top. They entertain second from bottom Tanjong Pagar United and Galang International against Albirex. And Albirex, with a big win tomorrow night, could go top if it stays 2-2 between Balestier and Tampines tonight. So as we officially start the second half of the 2020 AIA Singapore Premier League season, things are hotting up, and that's an understatement. Well, for some reason, referee Zulfikar is extending the Young Lions' misery here, and what has been a very grim second 45 for them. Still no winner yet for Tampines. I'm just looking at the stats for that game on my monitor. They've had fewer shots, Tampines, at Bishan than the Young Lions have managed here in this game, but you'd never know it, particularly in this second half. Hougang have just controlled the tempo and managed this game so well, and credit to Clement Teo for that. Well, we're finding some extra time here. There seems to be a suggestion maybe certainly the scoreboard timing was a little bit off, but we're now into the 6th minute when 4 were indicated. We have had red cards and a couple of injury stoppages. Well, 1 red card in the second half, of course. Is there another goal in this game, maybe? Danish. Well, Daniel Ong, credit where it's due, after a couple of shaky moments, including conceding that mysterious penalty, has had a second half where he has not conceded a goal. Our referee, Zulfikar, blows for full time on a game that will be talked about for many a days and weeks to come. The story of the match, well, the game opened up and it was all going so well for Hougang. A great deft back header from Zach Anderson managed to loop over the advancing Ridwan from a very well-delivered set piece. That was 1-0. But out of nowhere, the Young Lions found themselves level. A mysterious penalty after Nur Adam was brought down by Daniel Ong, or so he was in the referee's interpretation of it. Jacob Marder dispatched it well for his second goal of the season, and all of a sudden it was game on. At that point, the Young Lions had looked the better team, and it looked even more promising for them when Shafiq Ghani was shown red for a second yellow card just before half-time. But then in the second half, substitute Charlie Matchell coming on to score his first goal in Singapore from a beautifully placed free kick, regained Hougang United's lead, and from that point on they never looked back. The Young Lions were themselves reduced to 10 men when Jaime Shahin was readied for 2 yellows with 20 minutes to go, and when they were 10 against 10, well, Hougang was simply too good. A fine goal from Shawal Anwar after a good hustle led to a mistake from the Young Lions defence, and then we saved the best till last. A fine individual goal from that man in shot, number 2, Anders Aplin, to give the scoreline an absolute mirror reflection of the game that was the first game of the campaign for these two teams back in March. It's finished here. Hougang United 4, the Young Lions 1. Here's Zach Anderson's opening effort, 15 minutes in. That back header with Ridwan stranded. The Australian knew what he was doing there. It was a lovely delivery and a lovely header. Marvellous work from Afiq Noor, and Zach Anderson, superb. Knew what he was doing. That was a well-crafted goal. So that was 1-0 after just 17 minutes, and this is one of the talking points of this or any other season. Daniel Ong spills that, then regathers it, and Nur Adam didn't even go to ground. I thought, if anything, the referee was giving a free kick against the Young Lion, but instead he showed a yellow to Daniel Ong, gave the penalty. Jacob Marler wasn't complaining. He stepped up and dispatched it brilliantly for his second goal of the campaign. So that was 1-1 just before half-time. Shafiq Ghani saw red, so then you'd think it's advantage Young Lions, but not when you can call upon Charlie Matchell from the bench. He'd been on the pitch for less than 2 minutes when he dispatched that fine free kick to make it 2-1. Shawal Anwar then put the points to bed with a lovely finish from a narrow angle, getting the ball past Ridwan after some uncertainty in the Young Lions defence. And then Anders Aplin with a goal of the game, a solo run. That replay doesn't do it justice. He brought the ball up from halfway, the defender marauding up from the back to score his first goal of the season. Awaiting confirmation that the final whistle has gone at Bishan, and it has. as incredibly Balestier and Tampines have drawn 2 each. Here, look at that, 18 shots on goal for the Young Lions. I'm going to go back through the history books. I think it's probably the first time in Singapore Premier League history the Young Lions have had 18 shots in a game, and most of those, by the way, were in the first half when they notched 11. They've bested Hougang in most of the statistical departments, apart from the only one that matters, the scoreline. Hougang United have beaten the Young Lions here by 4-1. So we mentioned the confirmation from Bishan. What about this for a turn-up? Incredibly, Tampines Rovers had the points they'll have probably thought safely in the bag. This was a Balestier Counter team that lost 7-1 last time out at the same stadium to the Lion City Sailors. It was 2-0 very early on for Tampines as well. Ryan Sanazal after just 5 minutes, and a Boris Kapolovic penalty after 18 looked to be putting the Stags en route to going 5 points clear at the summit tonight. But enter Zuzu, a goal out of nothing just before half-time, and then 10 minutes after the restart, levelling it up. A fine recovery for Marko Kravic's men after that mauling at the hands of the Sailors. They've come from 2 down to steal a point from the Stags, and all that means it is very much game on in the AIA Singapore Premier League. Tomorrow night, live from our Tampines hub on Singtel Star Hub, the Singapore Premier League social media page and other associated partners. Albirex will have a chance to go top if they get a big win against Geylang, and then the Lion City Sailors at Bishan against Tanjung Pagar United. That one is potentially a goal fest waiting to happen, as the Sailors themselves can't go top, but they can certainly start turning on the heat on Tampines and Albirex at the top of the pile. That just about does it here from Hougang Stadium. Many thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow for another great doubleheader. Happy Diwali wherever you're watching around the world. We'll sign off with a final score of Hougang United 4, the Young Lions 1.